New developments this morning in a suspicious and fatal house fire in Candler. Deputies now say they found two bodies inside.
News 13's Victoria Dunkel joins us live this morning from Buncombe County, where deputies are also now looking for a person of interest. So, Victoria, who is he?
Well, they're telling us that his name is Kevin Davis. And let me tell you a little bit more about what's happened while everyone was sleeping. We already knew that there would have been one person killed in this fire when we had our last report for you at 11 o'clock last night. Since then, just before 1 o'clock, we got news that there had been a second body discovered. Let's take a look at the picture of Kevin Davis. He's 18 years old, and he is considered a person of interest in this case. So let me walk you through how all of this came to be. This fire started yesterday afternoon at the home at 52 Hubbard Lane in Candler, and that's when the fire crews went out there, and then they called the investigators, the sheriff's department, because that is when there was a discovery of the first body. Now, neighbors say that it was an elderly woman who lived there. When we last left it, the sheriff's office had called in the SBI to do some additional investigating. Deputies did not release the names of either of the people that they found. Neighbors do say, like we said, they confirmed to us when we were there last night that the first body that was found, they believed, was the elderly woman who lived in the house. Back out here live, the SBI team came out and was helping, and then sometime between yesterday evening when they found the first body and about 1 o'clock this morning, that's when they discovered a second body in the home. And they also are telling us they're looking for a stolen vehicle. We have another full screen of information I want to put up there if we can. And it tells us that they're looking for a blue four-door 1993 Honda Civic. The North Carolina plates are ZPE 7418. If you have any information, do call the sheriff's office at 828-250-6670. They're looking for a person of interest, Kevin Davis, and they're also looking for that stolen Honda Civic. So keep your eyes out for that. And of course, we'll be working this story for you all morning long and let you know, because this is definitely very much a developing story at this point. Reporting live in Buncombe County, Victoria Dunkel, News 13.
New developments in a deadly house fire in Candler. While you were sleeping, investigators found a second body in the home.
News 13's Victoria Dunkel is live at the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office. Victoria, now there's a search for a person of interest. Is that right?
That's exactly it. So let me show you, in a matter of just a few hours, we've gone from one suspicious death to now two. And Buncombe County deputies tell us they're looking for 18-year-old Kevin Davis. Take a look. We have a picture of him for you. This is the picture we got from the sheriff's office when they released this new information to us early this morning. So if we look at some of the video from the scene, we can walk you through kind of what happened and how we got to this point. This all started with a call about a fire at a home at 52 Hubbard Lane in Candler yesterday afternoon around 2 o'clock. Investigators initially found one body inside the home early last evening. Now, the sheriff's office called in the SBI to help process the scene, collect evidence, and just before 1 o'clock this morning, we received new information to the News 13 newsroom that crews had found the second body. Deputies have not released the names of the victims. In fact, I just got off the phone with the contact for the sheriff's office, and she was telling us they're not even telling us whether it's a man or a woman in either of the situations here. Neighbors did tell us that an elderly woman lived in that home. Both relatives and neighbors are visibly shaken in this.
Nowadays, you really don't know what to expect. A lot of mean people pretty much everywhere.
Also new this morning, the deputies are asking us to have you be on the lookout for a stolen car. This was a car they say was stolen from the scene at that house on Hubbard Lane. It's a blue four-door 1993 Honda Civic. The North Carolina plates are ZPE 7418. If you have any information about any aspect of this, whether you've seen Kevin Davis, the car, or anything that's suspicious yesterday as the fire started, call the sheriff's office. The number is 250-6670. Coming up in our next half hour, I'm going to tell you what I'm learning about Kevin Davis and why the sheriff's investigators say they're not completely unfamiliar with this young man. Reporting live in Buncombe County, Victoria Dunkel, News 13.
Other news for you now. The death count tied to a house fire in Candler climbed to 2 overnight, and deputies say both deaths are suspicious.
News 13's Victoria Dunkel is live at the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office. And Vic, what's happening now?
Well, we're starting to learn a little bit more about a person of interest now named in this case. I want to tell you a little bit about Kevin Davis. We have a picture of him, and he is the person of interest that deputies would like to talk to. They think he may have some answers, some clues in this case. Here's what we are learning about him. He has 3 outstanding warrants not related to this case. According to his Facebook page, he lives in Weaverville, and the information and his name and picture came to us in the early morning hours this morning. Let me take a look and show you through what has happened, kind of timeline you through as we look at video from the scene in the early parts of this investigation. It all started with a house fire call for a crews over on Hubbard Lane, that is, in Candler. When they got there, investigators also arrived on the scene. The fire was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, early last evening. Investigators say they discovered the body of a person inside the home, and then they called in the SBI to help process the scene, collect the evidence, and then later in the evening, in fact, just before 1 o'clock this morning, we got word into the newsroom that they had discovered a second body in that burned home. Now, deputies have not released the identities of either of the victims. They're not even telling us if it was a man and a woman, but neighbors did say an elderly woman lived in that home. Also in this case, we have now the police say someone stole a vehicle from the scene. It's a 1993 Honda Civic, North Carolina plates ZPE 7418. If you have information about any aspect of this case, please call the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office. The number's on your screen, 250-6670, 250-6670. Coming up in our next half hour, what we can tell you about the different developments that have been happening as we track the progress in this constantly changing case. In Buncombe County, Victoria Dunkel, News 13.
New information in the deadly house fire in Candler. While you were sleeping, investigators found a second body in the home.
News 13's Victoria Dunkel is live at the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office. Victoria, where does the case stand now?
Well, right now, the case involves a search for a person of interest. Let me let you take a look at Kevin Davis's picture while I tell you a little bit about him. He's 18 years old. Buncombe County deputies say he's a person of interest in this case. They have some questions they have for him. I did check with the folks at the Sheriff's Office. They tell me there are 3 outstanding warrants for his arrest in unrelated cases. And his Facebook page shows that he lives in Weaverville. Now, all of this started yesterday afternoon when the home on Hubbard Lane caught fire. Investigators working that case say they discovered a body early in the afternoon, or excuse me, early in the evening. They found one body in that home. And then that's when the Sheriff's Office called in the SBI to help with the investigation. That is when the investigators came across a second body, which that information came to us just before 1 o'clock this morning that they had made that discovery. Neighbors say an elderly woman lived in the home.
Nowadays, you really don't know what to expect. A lot of mean people pretty much everywhere.
Also in this case, deputies say that someone stole a car from the scene, so they're asking you to be on the lookout for it as well. It's a blue 4-door 1993 Honda Civic, North Carolina plates ZPE 7418. If you have information, call the Sheriff's Office at 250-6670. Now, back out here live at this point, they are telling us they're not releasing whether it was a man or a woman or who they found in the fire, but neighbors did say an elderly woman lived there, and family who arrived at the scene told News 13 that she had passed. We're working to confirm all the information and stay on top of this case for you. Stay with us on our Facebook page, website, and right here on News 13. Reporting live in Buncombe County, Victoria Dunkel, News 13.